Always gotta wait for the bar just to make sure. Hire the bar. Hi guys, Morgan Strong Comnic here. It's been a little while. Hope you're doing well. And of course, Socks hears you and has to say hi. Hi, Socks. So it is officially fall, and fall is usually a pretty big convention season for myself. And I like starting off as one of my first after the school year gets settled is SEMO, which stands for Southeast Missouri University. They call it SEMO. That's the the college that is down in Cape Girardeau. So a lot of things in that southeast area are known as SEMO. And I love SEMO Con. It's in Poplar Bluff, Missouri, which is a very quaint but decent sized town. Almost everything's on like this main strip for like 10 minutes. And of course, there's obviously side roads and stuff where you can get to other awesome places. And I always love coming here. I've been coming here since the beginning of SEMO Con, which was like, oh my gosh, 2015 or 16, which was great. Mr. Bill, the original, I guess, founder of SEMO, discovered me at a Poplar Bluff book fair I tried because he said I was very unique. He thought I'd fit, the brand of a comic convention, which was great. I've done a couple at that time. And now SEMOCon is one of my favorite local conventions to go to. We're all family there. I see a lot of fantastic friends, and it's a great time. So my goal is always for SEMOCon to grow, for people to know about it. I will have to say their advertisement this year was top notch. They keep getting better and better at that every year. Excellent, excellent job. They have lots of fun ideas, lots of ways just to be fun and friendly. And it's a great first convention, honestly, for, first timer. Doesn't matter what age you are. All are welcomed. It's a great environment. So I highly recommend SEMOCon. I have talked about it quite a bit. So I'll talk just a little bit about it this year. Now, I do not have any swag to show, and here is why. It has nothing to do with the vendors. It is because at that point, I was very broke, and every penny I made at that convention went to go paying bills. So I had free bills I needed to pay. That was my goal. I wasn't concerned about refinancing myself for the hotel room or the table. It was just to pay those free bills. And luckily I did. I wanted to, of course, treat my assistant, who happened to be my husband this time. That was interesting. But he was kind enough to pay for food since I bought the hotel for both of us, which I appreciate. We didn't go nuts with food or anything, but I was very grateful for that. That did help out. But yeah, I had gas I had to pay for. I had a medical bill, copay I had to save up for. And another bill. So I had to be very practical, and that's only like the second time I've had to think that way through a con, because normally, I'm grateful for any sale, but it is what it is. If I didn't get sales, it wasn't anybody's fault. I would have found another solution, but just a bad time financially for me. So I did walk around and said hi to my friends. I gave them hugs, took lots of selfies, told them they were awesome. And luckily, most of these people I know online, and I like keeping up with their products that way, so I can always support them in that way. So it's not the vendors by any means. It was just bad timing on my part. So I apologize for having no swag to show. But this con came at a crazy time, yet also the perfect time for me. I've discussed it a little bit on a couple of like the Patreon videos I do for my patrons, which you can join my Patreon at patreon.com/MorganSComnic. Helps fund audiobook versions of all the books we're doing. But it was on, this con is Friday, Saturday, Sunday, which is normal for a convention. And the day before, we had an incident where a student brought a firearm to my building. Luckily, nothing happened. Luckily, everyone is okay. The issue was resolved. But we're still kind of, as a building, dealing with some of the aftermath, especially the people who were right there near the firearm. Luckily, one of my coworkers just happened to see it down the hall. She came into our room and told us what happened. We got my littles because I teach elementary. We did our protocols, and we had to wait about 90 minutes, and then they said it was clear. It was difficult. They asked me, they brought counselors over, they brought food over. The administration was checking on us constantly for the next like week or so. They're still checking on us every once in a while. And, they're asking like, hey, you okay? You okay? Like, and some of the teachers had to go home, and that's totally understandable. It was just mentally, it it's a scary thing, no matter how close or far you are to the situation. I just remember I texted my husband very briefly, like in 2 sentences, what I knew. At the time, I knew very little, and that I loved him. And I knew that, heaven forbid something happened, he'd pass it on to my parents and everybody else who needed to know. And of course, I couldn't call him after that because we had to stay quiet in case there was an emergency. And I had the call the next day, and I know a lot of teachers took that Friday off because they needed to, which was more than respectable. And the district was very kind about it, which we thank you for that. So I think, although it was a rush to get ready for SEMO Con Friday morning, because when I came home Thursday, just from the incident, and we stayed at school, we tried to be upbeat and positive and uplifting for our students. That's draining on a normal day. Not to complain, but it was really draining that day. So yeah. So I came home and I just didn't want to do anything. I think Derek, my husband, was more wrecked than I was. And I felt so bad. I only really cried twice that day. I cried when I called him and I heard him sobbing on the phone when I finally got a chance to call him. And I cried, of course, when I got home and I hugged him. And he just, wanted to take care of me, and he wanted to be together. And so I didn't pack Thursday night like I should have. So I'm going to So we're trying to get ready Friday morning, and it took longer than I expected. So we barely got there in time for setup, but we did. And luckily Friday morning, a lot of kids are still at school. People are at work. So we just had some trinkling. I still got ready on time, and it was a lot of fun. By that point, I had planned free cosplays. I did bring all 3. I did cosplay all 3. So that was great. But I didn't do it that Friday. And people were like, where's your cosplay? Thought you were going to be the Pink Ranger today. I'm like, I will tomorrow, because tomorrow's a 10-hour day. So I was going to split my brand new premiere cosplay for 4 or 5-ish hours, depending on how tired I was. And then Pink Ranger, the second part. So and it worked out. So thank goodness. But nobody was mad at me. I told a few people, because again, this is my con family. I told some of them the situation, not to, get sympathy or anything, just to let them know. And I laughed it off, and I don't mean to laugh at anything, but sometimes when you're nervous or apprehensive, you're just like, I don't know what else to do. So you laugh. And they were all very understanding, and they've been checking on me and stuff. So I appreciate that immensely as well. And they're like, well, you win on crazy day. So we got the setup done. My husband and our good friends, Nathan and Tabby, who have a wonderful business called Bone Cave, which you should totally check out on Facebook. They take, roadkill, and they have these special bugs. I think some kind of beetles. Don't ask me for sure. But I've seen them at their house in their little geranium, and they clean it naturally, completely clean it. She also makes jewelry out of bird feathers, and she makes little tiny terrariums herself with skulls and pebbles. She has some pretty cool stuff with antlers and stuff. So it's a very niche, and they know they're niche, but people who love it love it, and it's really cool. So definitely check out Bone Cave. And they're also both fantastic cosplayers. Tabby's won a couple competitions. She loves to do the very technical cosplays, like wings that move, and full armor out of Evo foam, which is almost car mat material. So she's fantastic at that. And Nathan, her husband's great too, as well. So they're really awesome. So definitely check out Bone Cave. So they were a big help. It's always great to see them. I wish they would have brought my nephew. my baby nephew. He is a year old now. Oh my goodness. Yo, Theo, we are spending the weekend with grandma. And I understand that, but I'm just like, oh, I was going to play with him all weekend and he's going to make some good sales. Because, I mean, who could say no to a cute baby, right? But I'm sure he had fun with grandma. So they helped us set up, and I was in, I don't remember what shirt I was in. Some kind of normal shirt or something, but which was fine. And we we went to Starbucks like I always do. My husband's like, oh my God, we have to go to Starbucks. And I'm like, I always go to Starbucks before I go to a convention. And he's like, okay. So we did. And he got something. And normally he does Starbucks once in a blue moon. Usually it's too sweet for him what he gets. But this time he said they made it good. So good job, local Starbucks. And this is, I kid you not. The guy was like, yeah, I see you have your green tea, which I'm drinking now. And he goes, I didn't hear that. And I actually made you another one. So here's the second one. And I'm like, oh, thank you. And I laughed because the last time this happened, when I went to a book signing, I think it was in May or June, to Carbondale, they did the same thing. They accidentally made me too. So this is the second convention that this has happened. And I love it. I absolutely love it. So thank you. Like, that was great. Derek's like, are you going to be able to drink all that? And I said, yes. Since he was driving, it was easier than I would the Carbondale because I didn't know where the heck Carbondale was at the time. Luckily, Poplar Bluff, I know what Poplar Bluff was, and I knew he'd stop over to let me go to the bathroom because he knows how tiny my bladder is. But yeah, so the energy was good. I thought numbers were decent for the small convention. You know, you never know. I mean, there was downtimes where there wasn't many people. And of course, around like the last hour, a lot of people were shut down early. That's normal for a lot of conventions in general. We were stationed at, if you walk in, so if you walked in the main entrance, by the bleachers on the far, because you know, it's a convention center, but they have bleachers for like the basketball courts and concerts and stuff. They fold them up. Far left. So the first one on my far left was my friend Bob, who does fantastic art, especially caricatures. He's so sweet. He's also lives in the same hometown I do, which is awesome. And then my friend Chelsea Quinn, our local Southeast Missouri Harley Quinn, who's wonderful. She has a cosplay booth. And then, of course, my Heroes for Kids family was right there. And then I was next to them. So that was nice. Normally I'm across from them, which I kind of prefer, to be honest. But, you know, I'm not complaining. It would have been, and then like last year I was across from them and then had Brown and Tabby, Bone Cave, next to me. So that would have been great if all of us were together. They were just like one row down, but still it would have been, you know, nice just to be together. So again, if the baby was there, I could have played the baby. No, okay, that's not the only reason I use my friends. But then next to me on the other side of Heroes for Kids was a magician, and he was really good. So if there was downtime, or if, you know, he was really good at drawing the crowd, and like I would see Derek, who, you know, Derek has ADD, so I understand, and he, you know, he ain't gonna hop up and be as flamboyant as I am with my personality. But you know, they're my books to sell, so I appreciate him being there for the weekend because I couldn't get my normal assistance. But you know, it was a nice experience for us too, especially after the incident with my school the previous day. It was nice just to be together. But yeah, I caught him when he wasn't playing Pokemon or listening to his audiobook. He was just watching the magician. He was smiling too, and he was great. He was fantastic. And I think he said he did a lot of like birthday parties and shows. Was his first convention, and he enjoyed it. So I'm glad. I was glad to hear that. He was really fun to watch. And then there was some, I think, wrestlers on the other side of him. And then the photo. Chris, who now runs SEMO Con, is a photographer, especially for cosplay. And he was running around too much. So, but he had his screen up, so that was cool. So I did take advantage of that. A lot of people did, which was awesome. Let's see. My friend Craig was there. He does great paintings and perler beads. He's done also shadow boxes. So he's done lots of cool stuff. He was there. Brown and Tabby were there from Bone Cave, of course. Like I said, Chelsea, Jessica, and Lonnie. Bob, my friend Robert was there helping out, volunteering with Heroes for Kids with his Mandalorian suit. Uh, some of my friends who normally come, like Bree, she was at a different convention, which I miss seeing her. But I heard she did well, so I'm happy for her for that. Oh gosh, I saw a lot of people I've seen in the past, but and I said hi to them and we got to talking. My friend Keanu came all 3 days. He volunteers now, and he's got a great ex from Teen Titans when Robin kind of goes undercover bad to work for Slade costume. I mean, we're at um, Cape Con last weekend going to do Starfire and Slade, and I had my outfit ready in the car, but I couldn't cosplay very efficiently that weekend, and I'll tell you why in another video when I do that one. So I got to see him. I saw a lot of people I've seen in the past. They were all really sweet. I saw some people again that just goes, "Okay, I need your next book. You need a cliffhanger," so they were grabbing that one. So I'm like, "Okay, cool," and that was great. So it was always wonderful to see my friends. Sorry, I just see something right here. No, okay. Okay. So if you guys don't mind a minute, I got a buzz on my phone. My grandma's in the hospital, so I need to make sure like everything's okay. She's supposed to be coming down to rehab today, to the rehab center. She's in Cape Girardeau right now. So I will be right back. Okay. You can enjoy my really messy house, so I apologize for that. Okay, I'll be right back. Sorry about that. Everything's good. My phone kept pinging from school, not my school. I'm on all of the district's school things with my school mail because alternative, since we have all the grades. I guess when I first signed up, I registered for all of them. I don't know how to. So I get updates for every school in my district. And it was just going ping, ping, ping from the elementary. So I'm like, what do they want on a Sunday? But I just want to make sure it wasn't my grandma. So okay. So anyway, oh my gosh, let's see some of the fun things at the convention, other than the amazing vendors and the amazing people and the photo area and the magician and the wrestlers. They had some cool panels. So we had a ramen eating contest, which is fun. We had Disney karaoke, which I would have loved to have done because that was on Sunday, and I was just as Evie from Descendants. That was lots of fun. Oh gosh, I'm trying to think. They had a lot of card game tournaments like Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, probably Magic. I'm sure they always do pretty well over there. Werewolf, they play Werewolf. I remember they just randomly played it like the first or second year, and it was a huge hit, and everybody talks about it. I've still never played, and I know how it plays. They've explained it to me. I'm just like, okay, maybe one day I'll try it with a group of friends. But I'm just like, okay, that's fine. I know there was a dice vendor because both my husband and Brown and Tabby. Sorry, I call him Brown. It's Nathan, but my brother-in-law's name is also Nathan. And my husband's best. So it's my husband's brother and my husband's best friend are both named Nathan. So we tended to call his best friend Brown, his last name. just so it doesn't get confusing. But yeah, they got these beautiful dice, and I admit I was jelly, but again, I didn't have any money, and Derek wasn't nice enough to buy me a pair. No, okay, it's fine, it's fine. Let's see. So there was that. Oh gosh. There was a like how to cosplay panel. Heroes for Kids usually does a panel. Um, I'm sure the wrestlers did a panel. So yeah, they had a video game area. So they had like it looked like a sumo little mat, but I think they had like almost like sock and bopper bats, and there I think there's a vendor though, but it was close, kind of close to where I was, and in the distance, but in the same line or aisle or whatever, and you could like pay money to to do that. So that's kind of interesting. I thought. Uh, I believe was there face painting at this? No, no, there's face painting at the other one. I was like, I don't think there's face painting at this one. But yeah, they still had a lot of cool stuff. So they're always venturing out, which I always admire them doing new things. They had prizes. So Chris would go on the microphone and be like, hey, somebody bring me something, blah, 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 and you'll get some con bucks. So that means you could spend it in any vendor's booth, and then the vendor would later get reimbursed by the convention. So they also had a really good taco truck, I heard, right outside, which was convenient. And then they always have I think it's Jimmy John's. They had Jimmy John's inside. They have a little booth where they bring pre-made the most popular sandwiches, and they had a lemonades and hot dog stand, like actually like like a little mini food truck that they rolled. I guess they drove it in, and she was plugged up at the opposite far corner of me, and they were really popular. But I can't drink lemonade, so but all the food booths did well, I heard, so that's really awesome. That is very, very awesome. Um, my cosplays. Okay, so I already talked about Evie that I did for Sunday at SEMO. And I haven't done her in a while. I definitely need to get a bigger skirt because it's been a while. I use that skirt for Ren from Fate Stay Night. And I need to adjust. That cosplay is one of my, not very first, but in the less than 10 category. And I need to, I've gained weight. But they're Chinese sizes anyway. So, but those are both closets. So I just have to replace that. Oh my gosh. So also on Sunday, okay, tragedy. So I've had these black leather boots. Gosh, I got them back in 2013. So they're like 10 years old. But I take good care of them. I use them for a lot of cosplays. And I noticed they were getting scuffed like on the design part, but I was like, it adds character. Well, I was walking to change out of Edie for the end of Sunday before cleanup. And I heard flop, 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 and I couldn't walk. And they have really thick, like concrete floors. And I'm like, what is that? And I looked down, and the whole bottom part of my boot, my right boot, was falling apart. And I'm like, oh my gosh, okay. And then I couldn't walk on my left side. So then I look over there, and it's falling apart at the exact same time, just as bad. And I took a little 30-second video of it. I'm like, oh my God. They're still in my Swan Princess backpack. I was just like, I know I gotta throw them away. And I'm pretty sure I know where to find them on eBay. But because where I got them from 10 years ago, because they're soft and they're comfortable and they weren't that expensive. I know I'm just like, I got a lot of use out of them, but I'm just like, I guess they wanted to go together. I'm glad they waited till the very last second of the convention. And I didn't need them for Cape, luckily. But I'm just like, oh my God. It was weird to walk on because the boots, they're long, so they were like totally flopping like clown shoes, and it was just, oh my gosh, I was present on a trip, and I'm like, this is so weird. So anyway, but Evie was fun on Sunday. So I love the blue hair and the crown. Jessica did my lip gloss for me because I can't do makeup, and she put it on very nicely. And then they're trying to do my eyeshadow and eye lash thingy. I don't know what it is. It was like a pencil, and I thought that'd be easier. And she's like, "Oh, I've never used the pencil." And I'm like, "Okay." So they grabbed one of the vendors and volunteers who does like Hollywood effects. She does more like fantasy, but she goes, "Oh, I can definitely do this." And she made it look good. It didn't stay all day, obviously, but it looked really good. And then I did my Pokemon panel at 11 on Sunday. They opened at 10. So I had the hardest time finishing up the panel to get prepped for it. And it wasn't the con's fault. So, okay. Sorry, it's my brother. So, what already happened was I had the second part based most of I got the second part of the game show ready. And then I was going to do a word scramble and I spent like almost an hour when we had downtime on Friday on my phone getting that in and I put it in the way the program told me to and it flipped it. So I wasn't going to redo that. And then I tried Kahoot It, which is a fun classroom program, but it hates my guts. It has always hated my guts. And I spent 45 minutes waking up early Sunday morning, the day of the the panel, to get the Kahoot ready because I had the questions. I just had to type it up. And I was like, okay, we got this. And it never worked. We tried it online and it never worked. So I'm like, okay, we're just going to do traditional game show. Thank gosh, I had the old cards I used to use back in the day. And I'm just like, oh my goodness. So I felt so ill prepared. But everybody was super nice. I had 10 people. So that was shocking. I only planned for like maybe 4 to 5. So I split them into teams and then we did the quiz show and then I let 2 people from each team for the second one. One was turned away from the screen, the other was like giving them taboo clues, describing the Pokemon, and then whatever team got the most, I think in 5 minutes, because there was 10 to guess, was the winner. And that was really fun. So that means the winning team got, I got 4 prizes. So I told the 5th person, like, hey, come to my table. I'll give you a free Pokemon charm or hair clip or whatever. And she was all like, oh, I didn't really contribute. I was just here with my friends. And I was like, no, you're part of the team. It's fine. It's fine. Everybody had a good job. And I said, do you want to do this again? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, okay. So Kristen couldn't come in. They had one of the other higher up people of the con come and check on me. And they said, hey, you doing good? I'm like, yeah. Another one came in. You doing good? Yep. Like, I'm doing great. So I usually have an assistant, but that's why I didn't go too all out. But next year, I know what I'm doing and I will pre-prepare since it's like the 10th anniversary of not SEMO, but of like SEMO Days, I think is what one of the head guys told me. He did Ernie from Power Rangers, the waiter that owns Ernie's Juice Bar, on Friday. And I did my Pink Ranger Saturday afternoon. And he's like, Morgan, we're supposed to coordinate. And I'm like, okay. He goes, the 10th is next year. I said, yes. Message me. We will coordinate. The Pink Ranger will go to Ernie's. He goes, I had your refreshing ice cold favorite. I'm like, oh, Ernie, you're the best. So we were just having that conversation, which was fun. So, but yeah, being Evie was fun. I got to be deliciously evil, and I was trying to give people apples, and they're just like, no. Or I was trying to give my husband an apple, and he's just like, I'm not taking your apple. You're too obsessed with apples, because I had an apple purse and a fake apple, and I'm just like, that's my character. And I'm like, I'm rotten to the core. And he's like, no, you're not. I'm like, it's from the movie. So I had fun with that. So that was a lot of fun to do and walk around and be a little prissy and check on myself in the mirror. But I enjoyed it. Got some good pictures with my friends. So that was Sunday. I told you I didn't cosplay Friday. Saturday I split it. So Saturday afternoon I was the Pink Ranger in my full outfit. And I was nervous because the last time I wore it, I got not at CosmoCon. Not actually CosmoCon, a lot of people like said, hey, cool, but they walked off and I'm like, okay, that's fine. But when I did it last Cape Con, some people said some mean things online. How I was basically too fat to wear the outfit, although the outfit is custom made to fit my body. So it's not like overly, like it's tight, but not like inappropriately tight and everything. And I think, yes, I'm bigger than like an actor ranger, but I thought it suited me. I know the personality of the character. I love the character, but so because I was standing next to the Yellow Ranger, I think is what it was, and she's very petite, and that's fine. But it made me feel really bad, and that was an expensive cosplay. It was a dream cosplay of mine, so it's kind of hard to hear words like that. So I was a little apprehensive about this, but the second I went back to my table, I had this. I guess he would have been in his early 20s, young man. He just like fangirl, not fanboy. I don't mean this meanly, fangirl squealed at me. And he's like, you, oh my gosh, I love you. You're my favorite. I have to get a picture. And he like put his arm around my waist, not inappropriately, and asked his friend to take a picture. And I was like, thank you. And then like I go back to my table, and then like every couple minutes somebody would start screaming at me, and I just kept taking pictures, and I would walk around and people were chasing me down, getting pictures, and that was really fun. So I really enjoyed that a lot. So yeah, it made me feel good that it you just you got to be in the right environment, I guess. And internet trolls are trolls, and their words hurt. But you know what? I still like my cosplay. I love being the Pink Ranger, and she's my idol. So what up with that, haters? One of my favorite moments though was a little boy, two little boys. Like his dad was fanning out over me, and the oldest little boy. They're both pretty small, and he's like, "Are you really the Pink Ranger?" And I said, "Of course I am." And so you guys want a picture? And the dad's like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, get a picture." And the kids are kind of looking at him like, Dad, calm down. So I bent down, and the older little boy ran up to me, and he just went plop on one of my knees. I had to like readjust real quick so I didn't fall on my butt. And then the other one was probably like 2. He didn't talk hardly, and he could barely walk. And I was like, "Come here." And so I opened my other arm, trying to balance the other boy in my knee, like holding him. And he got in my arms, and he just kind of was like pouting. His dad's like, "Come on, buddy, smile." So I grabbed him and I tickled him, and finally got him into giggles, and he leaned into me smiling. And it was such a cute picture. And his dad's like, "Oh my gosh, thank you so much." And I said, "Oh, no problem." And then they saw Merida, and they ran to her, and they got her picture. And then I only walked like maybe 20 steps. And then Merida's like, "Wait, I want a picture with you." And she's like, "I've been chasing after you." So I'm like, "Oh, okay." So powerful women with bows. So that was really fun. Yeah. So I like took some pictures with some Pink Ranger items for vendors. I'm like, "Hey, you want to pose with this for like your shop?" And they're like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Okay, cool." So that was fun. So I really enjoyed that. That was really fun being the Pink Ranger. Wasn't too uncomfortable. And then once I figured out the helmet, which that's the biggest struggle, it wasn't too bad. The first time it took like forever, like 14 minutes for me to get adjusted, and Derek's, trying to help me like, so that was really fun. My new cosplay though, a Saturday morning, was I was Odette from Swamp Princess, and I had the license dress and the license necklace and the license plushies of all of the forest friends. I forgot my swan form plushie, but that's okay. And I already have my Valentine wig, which I still need to style. Chelsea did my makeup just so I wouldn't look as pale, because the pale wig and the white really washed my face out. I'm already pale. But even if a lot of people didn't know me, a couple people did. I had a lot of fun, and I got to act like a princess, and I took a couple pictures, and it's me. I don't look as great as I would like to, but some were fun. I really like the ones where I had the animals surrounded by me, like the original soundtrack from 1994 cover. So that was really fun. I enjoyed that a lot. So that was fun. So I will definitely be doing more Odette. And then I just wore my white wedding ballet shoes, because the dress was long enough. You can't see it. It's definitely a warm dress, and it was freezing in that place. So I was like, "Oh, thank gosh, I'm wearing a really thick velvet material long sleeve dress. I actually picked the right con for this dress." I wasn't sure. I thought it'd be burning up, but nah, I was good. Pink Ranger covers you. Spandex suspend. I was good. Evie, I made sure I had really like warm leggings. I was good. Friday was the only time I was really cold because I had regular clothes on, but I had my new Mulan jacket, which Derek actually really liked, except for the flappies. Hotel was great. We always do the Holiday Inn, because I always do discounts. Everybody's super nice. Breakfast was pretty good. Sweet little old lady took our order both times. A lot of people I knew stayed there because they work with the con to give them a discount. So that was really fun. Really, no complaints. The room was very nice. We had a nice king bed and a sofa. So it was nice to actually have a table to eat, and Ladybug happened to be on. So we watched Ladybug while we ate. What did we eat? Wendy's? We had Wendy's one night. Yeah, we had Wendy's one night, and then he was nice Saturday and got me Fazoli's, because I love Fazoli's. I don't have that around here. And I think he drove and got Burger King. We had some snacks to munch on between time. And then we did our Japanese dinner at Fuji's that we normally do. Unfortunately, last time I went with Julie, and then this time I went with, Nathan Brown and Tabby and my husband. It hasn't been as good, and it's been very expensive. So they kind of changed their menu up. So service was fine. Give you a crap ton of yum yum sauce if you want. If you ask for yum yum sauce, it will give you like a third of a bottle of yum yum sauce, which is nice. It was almost too much even for me. But, yeah, it was like that. And Poplar Bluff's still a beautiful city. It's a beautiful community. Chris, you worked your butt off. You and I were talking like the week before the con, and you came and just vented to me because they rearranged all of your space because they took one of your rooms from you last minute, and you rearranged all the vendors, and you've been advertising, and you've been running around taking care of people, and you are just divine, and your wife was a rock, and she was fantastic. Your kids are always adorable. So Chris, thank you for all of you do. And check out Pence Productions, guys. Pense, Pence Productions, for all his great photography. So you definitely should check Chris out for that. And he's a science teacher too. So he had to do all of that on top of this. So Chris is amazing. And Chris and I have plans for next year. So I'll keep that a little secret. And he had a lot of plans fall through last minute guest wise on top of all of the last minute things that the convention center threw at him. And he was so stressed. Like when he sat down, we almost had like a Duffield moment. He's like, it was just like a little therapy. I was like, okay, Morgan, let me tell you my story. And I'm like, okay. He just kind of unleashed it. Poor Chris, but we love you. We appreciate you. We know you love SEMO Con. You and your media team, you and your staff, we're all excellent. So you guys are great. I just wish we had badges still. That's just a personal complaint of mine. For any con I don't get a badge for, because I like to display them. We had the little wristbands again. So I'll just have to print out a 2023 SEMO mini picture to put on my badge board. So I know they're probably an expense. Pay an artist, but I think it would be worth it. And Chris has big plans for next year already. He's super stoked. He's already got those in the works. He was getting those in the works during this con a couple weeks ago. So good job for you. So, and my sales were good. Like I said, I was able to get my bills situated and meet so many wonderful people. And we sold a couple like odds and ends. I always bring my anime to sell, some of my brothers and some of my nerd odds and ends I sell, and I usually do pretty good on that end here. So that's pretty awesome. I enjoy that. So SEMO, you guys are a turtle-tastic. Turtle is their mascot. And I can't wait for 2024 and to help out and be a part of that any way I can. All right, guys. Thank you for this review, and definitely check out more soon. All right. You guys are awesome. Check out SEMO Con, SEMO Con. All right. Follow them on Facebook, Twitter. I don't know if I have Twitter, but Instagram. Definitely Facebook and Instagram. All right. Bye, guys.